Well, hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Detecting in North Lancashire. Now I thought I'd do something a little bit different. I do like to look across the finds that I've had from a field. So these are the finds that I've had from a field that I thought was, I've got a farm with quite a few fields, and I thought this field was quite poor, so I kind of not really detected on it as that much. Anyway, I've been back on it and I've had some luck on it. So let's have a little look at the collection of finds, so you can kind of see the age of what's been going on in the field, and get a bit of an idea of who was on it and up to what. So right at the modern end, so a shilling tanno, five shilling tanno, and I think that's from Tanzania. So I wonder who's been to Tanzania from North Lancashire and brought that back. Yeah. And a bit of military stuff. So the military buttons, badges, that's quite nice, isn't it? Look at that, what an expression there. You can even see the lion's ribs. Raw. And yeah, the children thinking of it with their lead toys. You get items like this, you see it coming out of the ground and think, oh, could it be old? But when they're pressed, they're probably not as old as that you're hoping. So I don't know the age of that, maybe Victorian, maybe a bit younger than that, who knows. So yeah, right. And then the copper coins, often I've not put out all the Victorian pennies and that. There are quite a few of those, pennies and half pennies, not hundreds but a few. And it's nice to see Georgians come up, early Georgians come up in reasonable condition. Well, so that you can at least make them out. So George II halfpence, is that the 1806 halfpence? Another one there. So in fairly good condition. You can just see Britannia. And then this one, I still think that's George II. There's a 2 there. Looking left rather than right. And if we turn it over, you might just be able to make out the harp. So that's a Hibernian, island. So whether it was Irish navvies or Irish farm hands, or people, well, just visitors, or in the Navy, who knows, probably farm workers. And a couple of, it's made of a different, isn't it? Are these bronze? So that's William of Orange. You can just make him out there, to look into the right. There's not as much detail on that side. I don't know if you can just make out. The Britannia is kind of different. I think their head is just there. You can see a bit of lettering at the bottom. So that's a halfpence, and I think that's a William of Orange farthing. Might just be able to make it out. Again, not much on that side. You might be able to work on it and get a bit more detail up. The usual buttons, I've not put them all out, but some dandyish buttons. That would have been shiny gold. Imagine a row of those on someone's outfit. Crikey, they weren't Puritans, were they? Again, dandy buttons. Look how snazzy that is. Silvered one. And then a crown with 2 hearts. Not quite sure the age of that. I always find these an intriguing find. clog clasps. That one's quite a good one. You can see a bit of hatching on it. Right, some items that I don't know what they are. Could be any age. You know, you look at that and think, could it be Roman? So who knows? But that's pretty old. And then little bits like this, always worth hanging on to and investigating. Yeah. And then these two, I've had little pieces like this, but you don't get them very often. You know, lead, like a lid for a box or something. Is that a floral pattern? So I don't know what they were used for storing. Musket balls, pistol shots, and that one. You know, that looks like, I don't get many like that. That looks like the person firing it chewed it. And apparently they did that to cause more damage. So, don't know. You know, maybe, just maybe, if someone's bothering to do that, that was during the Civil War. But, yeah, it's only a guess. It could have been chewed by a machine, but I don't think so. And then I think this is a horse harness decoration. I think. Maybe this is too. There's a bit of a design on that. There at the top. And if you turn it over, you can see where it went in, but there's a couple of pieces of leather still in there. Intriguing. Now that it's a little broke, unfortunately, but this is some kind of seal. I have a feeling it's quite modern, but you just never know. I mean, look at that. There's some effort gone into that, and the bit of strap there. So that's there's a lot of effort gone into that. And is that like a trumpet horn? A bit of belt buckle action. That part of a spectacle buckle. Let's see, is that a bit of working there? Not much left of this one. A little bit of pottery. You sometimes find interesting pieces. So, yeah, is that a man and a woman? Yeah. Right, and now on to the older stuff. So I think this is all cooking pots. So it was active in medieval times. You know, that's quite a big, what are they called? Cauldron leg, cooking pot leg. That's pretty big, isn't it, that? I assume that's what it is, a cooking pot leg. Now that's a small one. I assume it's still a cooking pot leg. You never know. I don't think it's a Bronze Age dagger tip. I think it is more of a bronze cooking pot leg. So there were a little bit of something there. And then this part of a cooking pot, I think that's the outside. And then, is that the inside? You know, it's black, so they were, yeah. I don't know, but yeah, I think that's part of a cooking pot, isn't it? So they burnt the contents, perhaps. But yeah, so there's quite a bit. So they were there for quite a while, cooking and working and living. This is a medieval bronze plate, I believe. Maybe this is 2. So they were there for a while. Now this is a bit intriguing. It was a low number, I think it's bronze. But yeah, I don't know what that is. You know, I did think like a heraldic pendant, but who knows. But there seems to be like a circle in the center, and yeah, but that's intriguing. Now this is obviously a knife handle, but is that bone? And it's quite heavy, so I think that it's got an iron core that's swollen a little bit and splitting. And it was the iron, you know, well, there's a metal core, and that's what caught the detector. So I think that's bone rather than wood, but could be wood, I don't know. But I've got a feeling that that's quite old. I don't know whether it goes all the way back to Elizabeth I times, but I'm feeling that's quite old. And then these spindly whorl type stuff, loom weights. That was the first ancient find that I had on the field, so that's why I hung about and picked up all the tiny little signals. 2 different designs on each side. That's quite a beautiful one. So is that Tudor? I'd guess. So again, they were there working for quite some time, and that's not one like that. That's quite intriguing. The shape of it, you know, that it's extended in this section, but it's like a groove but with a dot. So what that signifies or not, I don't know. And then 2 more simple loom weights, spindle whorls. So again, they were there sometime working away. Right, yeah. So the hammered coin type situation. So these are Elizabeth I, a penny, and these are both sixpences. So that one is 1567, and that one is 1574. But that's been cut down, hasn't it? That's been clipped. And that's a penny, Queen Victoria I penny. And that's a Scottish James I, very good condition. And that's a Charles I. So quite an interesting field. Like I say, active over quite some time. So I don't think that this has been dropped as a hoard, but you know what the museum people are like. So yeah, they've been notified, be notified, and yeah, but it's always nice to find hammered coins, isn't it? Absolutely beautiful. Now back onto the hammered coins. So that's been clipped. So this is quite intriguing on the same site. I think that's a hammered coin weight, and I think that this is a fake coin. I don't know if it's a fake hammered or a fake sixpence, but you can just see like lettering around the outside. So this is why they had the clipping and the fake coins is why they had the coin weights. But this one, I think this one, I sent it to a friend of mine and he sent me details. This one is for coins older than those. I believe it's a coin weight for a gold angel. I'll put up pictures of, you know, better ones. and the coin, you know, one of the coins it could be weighing. But yeah, so you can just see. So watch out for these, you know, little coin weights. You might just be thinking they're just a piece of scrap, and watch out for these fake fake hammered. Yeah, I think that's hammered, isn't it? Look at you can see the imprints of the letter around the outside, and yeah, it would have had a silver wash, but that's long gone. So there we are. So what a nice field. I don't know if anything else will come up. I'll try and find out what that is. Yeah, and you know, if there's any age to that, I'll come back. But yeah, a bit of a story of a field, or the story so far. Always nice to find the Williams with stuff on, and up to closer to the present. Right, okay, happy hunting everybody.